last night, Saturday night, could have been one of the best days of my life.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. We are your team every day alongside Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL playoffs are here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your Profit Boost pack every NFL playoff game day. We are doing a convention meetup, 3:30 to 4:30 this Friday at Shy Bar. They're on the walk-in level of the Sheraton prior to the doors opening to the main convention room at 4:30. Convention registration starts at noon, but everything really starts at 4:30 with the opening ceremony at 6. So we're going to be there at Shy Bar, probably the side closest to the escalators like last year.
Man,
and,
you remember
we'll
this place like you what did you buy stock in the Sheraton?
We'll remind you of this. No, I'm thoughtful and just want to honor our time and the listeners' time.
Yeah, I just don't remember the place that well.
Convention meetup 3:30 to 4:30 this Friday. We hope to see you there. The Cubs made an offer that Alex Bregman could not refuse. In a dramatic shift from their actions recently, including missing out on the same player last offseason, the Cubs struck big on Saturday by agreeing to a 5-year, $175 million deal with Bregman. The third baseman arrives with 10 years of experience, accolades including a 2-time World Series winner, 3-time All-Star, Gold Glove, Silver Slugger, and 2 top 5 MVP finishes. It was a dramatic shift for them to first not wait around. Bregman was the first of the 4 big bats to sign. The Cubs went long-term at 5 years. Cubs went high AAV, high total value.
Deferred.
And the big dramatic shift was deferred money.
Welcome to the world, Tom.
Deferments that could get the AAV for 2026 down from 35 to about 30.5. Later, we'll also talk about implications for Nico Hoerner, Matt Shaw, and why this really is the Cubs going all in. Because, Sam, the Cubs clearly concluded Bregman was their missing piece, and they made the big move to get him.
The Chicago Cubs acted like a big market. They traded for Cabrera. And look, sure, you could say, well, they could have signed what? No, you got to be realistic. They made a big market move. I still think with these deferrals, they'll probably still hang in there under the luxury tax. But they got a guy that they identified. I was listening to Northside Territory with Sharma and Mooney before this happened, and then I was talking to Ryan Agrest. That's we know him, right? That's yeah. I was
Chef's
talking
son, right?
Yeah. I think So I was talking to him, and we both things in common had this talk about Bregman and why the Cubs wanted him. And one of the things that stood out to me was there was a lot of leadership talk, like a lot of personality talk, a lot of off the field talk. And
intangible.
That's music to my ears because
sure.
you can't just put intangibles into the model.
No.
Or leadership into the model. These are real life skills. And the Cubs went in and paid him. They deferred some money. May it be a problem in 2031, 32? Sure, absolutely. And guess what? There's a lot of other problems, that who knows where I'll be or what's going to happen. I mean, that you don't look 6 years ahead of time, 7 years ahead of time. The Cubs right now have put themselves in a position. They've put themselves in a position to go to the postseason and to maybe even do some damage. And the last thing that I'll say is for the people out there, because I was talking to my dad a little bit, and he's like, okay, so like Bregman replaces Tucker. It's you go trade for Cabrera. It's kind of like a very similar team. The answer to that's no. Even though he didn't ask me a question,
similar team.
Because you're going to get a full year out of Cade Horton. You're going to get Justin Steele back for a large part of the season, right? You add in Cabrera. You bring a guy like Ballesteros who has bat-to-ball skills. Bregman has bat-to-ball skills. Hoerner, if they trade Hoerner, you could talk to Joe George about subbing permanently.
I will. I could do that this week.
Bat-to-ball skills. Like I'm excited, and Steele was in the chat yesterday talking.
I saw that
and
after the fact, yeah.
And one of the things that I thought about was just like him pitching, wind blowing in, low scoring game. He's getting a bunch of ground balls to the left side that Bregman's handling, and then maybe later Shaw's handling. And then it's just maybe a little hit and run with Bregman right side.
Sure.
You win a game, you win ball games 4-3. You win ball games 3-2. And what makes this team a little bit malleable is that if the wind's blowing out, they got guys, that's where Ian Happ comes in. That's where Seiya Suzuki comes in. That's where Michael Busch comes in. So it just feels like a team that could beat a lot of teams, including the Brewers.
Absolutely. This is the sure tell sign that the 2026 Cubs are serious about winning. For sure serious about overtaking the Brewers, but possibly more, all the way up to the very top step of the World Series.
You think that much? Okay, wow. I'm not sure there, but yeah. Okay.
This does feel like a personal message, Sam, from the front office.
Absolutely.
Hey, we are acknowledging that intangibles matter.
Mm-hmm.
And then putting the best team on the field this year prior to the uncertainty in the sport and everything else does matter.
Mm-hmm.
And we entered the offseason with that mission for the team of, hey, make your team as good as you can so that you're not only division favorites, but you've also given us confidence that you are treating this year with the level of sincerity and seriousness that it deserves. And they've absolutely done that. Baseball, it makes sense. Financially, it makes sense. And I'm so excited. I was really excited to get this news Saturday night. And within a matter of 4 days, they arguably traded for the best pitcher on the market and signed the best hitter. 4 days.
I was very indifferent about a month ago bringing in Bregman. Like if they brought him in, anytime the Cubs spend money, I'm not going to be upset. So I would say indifferent. I was like, all right, it's fine. You know what I mean? Like ultimately the goal is for Shaw to be Bregman. But in the last few weeks, I've talked to people, I've listened, and it's really the leadership stuff. And I talked a little bit about this last night when I did one of the most, a very poor instant reaction because I was, really just shocked at what just happened over on the lakefront. Still am. I talked about, Tucker he's a great player. But you could just, when you start reading between the lines, listening between the lines, there was something missing there, right?
That's where it stopped, he was a good player.
And it feels like with Bregman,
and they want more.
There's going to be some connectors. And like, I said this last night too, like there has to be some sort of value in Bregman's a world champion over at third base. He's been there. He's seen it all. Majorly, high draft pick stud. He's been part of some of the craziest games of the 2000s. Swanson, been there, done that, champion, first round pick, yada, yada. You know what I mean? And then you mix that with the guys that got a taste of it last year. You had that L flag put up by the Brewers, and then you see what the city did last night, you start to get a little hungry,
Of course, man.
And I think they're going to be good, man. I think they're going to be good. I think they raised their floor to like high 80s and hopefully can get to mid 90s.
Well, the lineup I think has maybe next to the Dodgers, if that's a qualifier we keep using. I think
Philly and Philly. If Philly gets
it has one of the highest floors in baseball, I think.
Oh, floor wise, I agree.
Itself.
Yeah. It really would be hard for it to be bad.
If they want to put the best team out on the field, they will not trade Nico Hoerner, and they probably shouldn't trade Matt Shaw either. So what are the implications for these other guys as we go through all the storylines throughout the week? Remember, we're here the rest of the month, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Stay tuned.
This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The wild card round is here. Is it ever? And FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in the action. Because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. And folks, last night, there are certain sporting events that happen that are fun in the moment. And then there's certain sporting events that happen that feel like they have 5 to 10 year ramifications. Kind of like when the Cubs beat the Cardinals in 2015. The Cubs have been on the right side of that rivalry ever since. And last night, the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams flipped the Bears-Packers rivalry for who knows how long. The Bears were underdogs in the game. It got to +2, yada, 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 down 21-3. They find a way to win, and they're just 3 games away from winning a Super Bowl. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL game day.
Thank you for making Locked On Cubs your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Cubs with no interruptions, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedoncubs.supercast.com
All right, got a little emotional there.
or check the link in this episode description. Speaking of emotional, trading Nico Hoerner would mean that the Cubs are not putting out the best possible team as they can in 26. And I think trading Matt Shaw maybe doesn't do that either, but more on Shaw later. Hoerner hit .297 last year, on base of .345, played in every game but 6 of them. 29 doubles, 29 steals. He won the Gold Glove. Then he proceeded to hit .419 in the playoffs. And really from March to October, he was their best and most consistent overall player. I don't think they're going to trade him. But if you look at this from in baseball and dollars and cents, it really doesn't make sense to trade him. If they so badly want to remain under the luxury tax, and I have all the current numbers in front of me for this segment, they can do that by trading someone else. But Sam, it can't be Hoerner.
Matt, you could make the case that if they trade, let's say they trade Hoerner, let's say they trade Hoerner and they just want to rebuild the farm or something. They'll be a worse team than they were. Like I think I'd rather have Hoerner versus Bregman's a real conversation. It really is at this point in their careers. It really is, right?
Yeah, they're 2 of the best players at their position.
Would you rather have Hoerner at second, Shaw at third, or would you rather have Bregman at third, Shaw at second? You're basically, I don't know if you trade Hoerner, unless you get back some sort of stud pitcher or something, are you really improving your team that much?
I don't think so.
I think the way the team improves is that Matt Shaw, who had some flashes of being really good last year, particularly was awesome defensively. You talked about the floor, how the lineup has such a high floor because now you're replacing, and I get it. At times last year, he was the best hitter in the second half, but the totality of the year, he was their worst offensive player, right? And now you're replacing him with a guy that could be your best offensive player. But if you then get rid of the guy that might have been your best offensive player last year, now I'm confused, right? I mean, you said it beautifully. It's like the Suzuki thing of last year. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The only way I could have it explained to me is if basically Nico Hoerner said, I'm out after this year no matter what, so let's turn him into something. But like, what could you turn him into now? Like, that's my question for you. And if Shaw's on the block, what do you turn Shaw? Is there a trade for Shaw that improves the big league team right now? Maybe at the deadline. Maybe at the deadline, you're 7 games up. You feel like you could compete with the big boys, and one of the best closers on the market's available. Then you consider it, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I really just don't know what Shaw's trade value is. I thought the reliever idea as well.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you would be trading Hoerner at his highest value, but he is entering his walk season, and I think there's a chance, Sam, the Cubs have decided this is Hoerner's last year, but just keep him. Keep him for the last year.
And if it is Hoerner's last year, that's even more the reason you keep Shaw.
100%, because then he'll play second base in 27 and beyond. 100%.
He'll play second base opening day, July 4th of 27.
But if please stop citing the luxury tax threshold. If you are out there and you're like, oh, they got, are you wondering if they need to trade Hoerner? I guess I would try to quell your worries in that, because, well, right now, because of the deferrals, according to Fangraphs, the Cubs are actually under the luxury tax,
right,
by about $800,000.
So they could still afford Willie Castro if they want.
Yeah, let's say they get Randall Grichuk or a relief pitcher or whatever.
Yeah.
I wanted to go through this exercise because
Grichuk?
I really don't think, well, I think you mentioned him a couple months ago.
I did, but now, do they need him now?
Yes, they will need, I think they need someone better than Alcantara at this point.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, for a fourth outfielder.
Okay.
That's my opinion. Maybe you disagree.
No, and it has to be a right-handed hitter.
You know what?
I'd love to bring back Talkman, but
I don't know if it does. I think it needs to be someone that could play center. That could play all 3 spots is what I mean.
Maybe I'll watch some Grichuk film.
Yeah.
See what he could do defensively.
But let's say, you know what? Let's just round up right now.
Okay.
And say they go to $250 million.
Whoa. That's not Matt. Rounding up is if they're at 243.8, you call it 244.
Okay.
What are you taking them from what, 238 to 250? Man, if I had teachers
about last year,
if I had teachers like you, I'd would have went to Harvard.
Are you talking about last year?
What's their current money at that you're rounding up to?
They're only $800,000 below the tax at 243 and change.
So you're going from 243 to 250.
Well, I wanted to do this exercise just to show that they shouldn't be afraid of the tax.
Hope you don't do that with your students.
Because as a non-repeat offender, you're taxed on the overage.
Yep. So let's pretend they go to 250.
That's what I was trying to do.
Yeah, but rounding up.
A 20% tax on a $6 million overage would mean you're only paid $1.2 million.
It's good math.
They should be able to do that.
I would hope so.
Before the deferrals.
That's a 4-night stay at the Zachary. 1.2 million? I mean, you ever see the price?
Before the deferrals, they were only over the tax. I calculated the penalty payment was only like $500,000.
Yeah, and like you said, they didn't go over last year, so they have to pay the repeater.
So, and if they can't pay 1.2 M's, again, that's an ownership problem.
Bring on Joe George.
Given all the factors involved we've discussed for literal years. But, we will lead off one of the episodes this week with the lineup.
And let me just cut you off.
When you see Bregman and Hoerner in it, you're like, all right, let's go.
We also don't know they might not have to worry about a repeater because there might be a whole new system next year.
Right. You're saying if they go over next year, but
yeah.
they have so little commitments for next year. Like, why would that even be on the radar?
It shouldn't be on the radar, just like rain.
So more on the updated lineup and updated roster throughout the week, as well as the
weather
updated
people
odds.
They just don't get it right a whole lot. Okay, can we say that?
Right. And I do think Matt Shaw is interesting as like a 10th man. I do.
So do I.
And he could be a bench guy this year and still play a lot. And if the Cubs require it or he commits to it, they could sneak him in the outfield a handful of games if they want.
Absolutely.
If they work on it in the spring. So, all right, let's keep this rolling. The Cubs are clearly all in on 2026. We get more to the reasons why next. The Cubs won 92 games in 2025. And they made the postseason, first time since 18. First postseason series wins in 17. Entering the offseason, they boasted a mix of solid veterans, exciting young players. This offseason, they first completely rebuilt their bullpen, which had the most turnover of any group on the team. Then they did a mild upgrade of the bench with Tyler Austin. Then they upgraded the starting rotation by trading for Edward Cabrera, which feels a while ago, but it was last week. And now they've signed arguably the best free agent position player in Alex Bregman. And Sam, not only are the Cubs all in for 26, but this pushes them into as the preseason favorites for the division.
Mm-hmm.
It pushes them as having the most overall upside than the Brewers, and puts them, in my view, as not only the division favorite, but maybe even to try to compete for one of those first round buys and get one of the top 2 seeds for the playoffs. They've really changed the whole narrative in a matter of days. They have.
They really have. They really have. And, I think before I get into what you just said, I just want to add one thing from the last segment. Right now, Moises Ballesteros is your DH. Is that fair?
No, he is. Yeah. Most of the time, but Bregman can DH too.
When the Cubs face lefties, Bregman will DH, Shaw will play third.
I think it's very possible.
So, Shaw's going to play. He's going to play. There's use for him. Like this idea that, there's a lot of baseball to be played. What if Swanson goes down? What if Nico
Yeah, what is the inning count per year again? Very quick math here. It's almost over 1,400 innings. He's going to play.
As far as going all in, trying to figure out how to phrase this. I think they're very dangerous. I think they're very capable. I think now it all swings over to how many arms can they get healthy? Can they be, and that they can have rolling when it comes to August and September? What's the trade deadline going to look like? I personally, now, do we know when Zach Wheeler's coming back? He's not missing the whole year, is he? He's going to be like halfway there, probably.
Hey, I'm not sure.
Because I personally think Philadelphia, if they sign Bichette, I think they're right there with the Dodgers. I'm not talking about playoff previews. I'm just talking about on paper talent. 80 different things can change. You can see a team. I'm just saying when it comes to on paper talent, obviously you have LA. I think Philadelphia is right there. But under that, I think the Cubs could lead that next pack. You could convince me Atlanta, they're talented. You could convince me Milwaukee because they deserve their respect. You could convince me. You can't really convince me on the Mets. I like San Diego, but I think the Cubs are better than them. Mm-hmm. So basically, this deal, on paper, you could make the case, made them, in my opinion, right around the third best team in the NL. That's big. That puts you right there. And the Dodgers like to walk through the season, so maybe they won't get a bye again. The Dodgers didn't get a bye last year. People forget that. They unfortunately
they didn't seem to really mind either.
They didn't really care at all.
No.
They just blew out the Reds in back-to-back games and moved on.
And that's why they're in the separate tier as everyone else.
And then Philadelphia, who I just think has a magnificent on-paper team. If they were to add Bichette, you're talking about Bichette, Schwarber, Harper, Turner, and that's why I ask about Wheeler, because Luzardo was awesome last year outside of 2 starts. And then they got that kid Christopher Sanchez, who's terrific. But they don't know what's going on with Wheeler. So yeah, I mean that's the context of it. I mean, I'm not locked in on all the teams right now like I would be in March and April. But yeah, you roll the ball out, and the Cubs got veterans, and I think they're going to be built to play tight, close games. I'm excited. I am excited. All in, yeah. Maybe all in is the right term for what they could have done. I think Bregman's going to love playing here. He played in Houston where they won world championships. Do you want to talk about the cheating thing? I feel like that's really old news, right? Do you want? Is there any part of that bothers you
at this point?
No, yeah, it doesn't.
No,
I just read a quick article about it this morning. I was like, I don't know if we're going to bring that up. I'm over it.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe that's lazy. Maybe I'll do more homework, but I'm over it. He's phenomenal in Houston. He has the Crawford boxes there. He goes to Boston. He's really good there. But now, he comes to Wrigley Field. His future's set. It's exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah, today's the day to celebrate that and soak it in, because they're like with anything, just like with the other day with the Cabrera trade. Yes, there's questions. And yes, he missed a lot of games last year. And
how many guys in baseball, man, I'm going to interrupt. How many guys in baseball would you sign where there's no questions? Judge, Soto, and Ohtani. There's 3 guys.
Yeah, exactly.
There's 3 guys.
No, I appreciate you saying that.
There's 3 guys where if you were to throw, even Bobby Witt, if you were to throw 700, there's 3 guys
good point.
Where you go, okay, and even that, there's injuries, Soto literally walked through the season. He didn't care last year, or at least it felt like it half the year, and he ended up with like 40 and 100.
Well, at least in April and May, yeah.
Yeah, it just looked like he was just like whatever. Remember all those articles about he wanted to go back to the Yankees and this, and he's struggling, and oh my gosh, the Cubs got Kyle Tucker. He's better than Juan Soto. I just put 43 homers. 105 RBIs, 921 OPS, 6.2 WAR in the first 2 months. He looked like he didn't even want to be there.
The Dodgers in the NL, the Dodgers are clear number 1. Phillies, even before possible Bichette signing or Real Muto reunion, clear number 2.
Yeah.
I think there is debate over number 3, but I think the Cubs
They're in that debate. They're in it.
They're in it. It's them and the Mets to me. And really, it's probably them and the Braves. The Mets would be right under them.
Yeah, the Braves are interesting.
Top like 5-ish.
I took the Braves over last year. I lost it by about 25 games. I don't. They're so talented, the Braves. And it's weird. The Braves are one of my favorite examples of sometimes you do this every day, and you analyze, and sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. Imagine doing Locked On Braves the year they won the World Series without Ronald Acuna.
Yeah.
Like, things are just weird. Baseball is weird, man. You want to ammo yourself up with as much talent and as much ability to be flexible and go through stuff, because that's the one thing nobody's talking about with this Bregman deal is last year Bush, Hoerner, and Swanson and Shaw were healthy the whole year for the most part. Now you don't want anybody to get hurt, but now you have a massive insurance policy, massive, that you just took out. So
yeah, I can't help but think this parallels a little bit to 10 years ago. Like, to me, the Cubs haven't really done this for about 10 years.
Oh, parallel. Tell me who.
Like
a Zobrist?
I think it would be before the 15 season, yes.
Or like a Lester.
Because of the dollars, Sam, it probably would be more Lester.
Yeah. They got a good deal.
But the Cubs have finally used money to back up returning players with an influx of their young talent who already graduated or are about to, and they used money for someone who has many, many intangibles in addition to their baseball resume to support a championship level team.
Who's the best player on this team? We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Wow.
Isn't that that's fun? That's a fun question.
Yeah, it'd be fun to project the lineup, and I still need to update the roster graphic with Cabrera and Bregman now.
Maybe they still have room to sign,
Well, I think they'll get a fourth outfielder.
Hosmer or somebody.
New episodes Monday, Tuesday, Thursday this month. We're back to 5 starting Monday, February 2nd. And if you're going to the convention, please stop by the Shy Bar there on the walk-in level, 3:30 to 4:30 on Friday. All right, a lot of packed shows this week, breaking it all down. Thank you for making Locked On Cubs your first listen of the day. For those of you on video, we're about to send you to the 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel, and on audio, make sure your second listen, I'm going to say, is Locked On Bears.
Yeah.
Go check out Locked On Bears this week. Joe George over there as well.
Congrats to Joe George, who's just sparking playoff teams everywhere he goes besides the Bulls.
Incredible run there for Joe.
Hey, go Illini.
And sure.
Iowa didn't play well early in that game.
Yeah, he told me to start watching Iowa, so then I did earlier in the week. And they had like 7 points at halftime.
They're going to get going again, and you will see them in March.
He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs. All right.